Good evening. I just wanted to do a quick video going over this week's trades. Because I have not done that in a minute, and I think it would be, it would just be beneficial to go over some of the trades that I took. So right off the bat, we didn't take trades this week on, um, on Monday. There's no reason to take trades on Monday. There was no news. But there was news Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, as well as today. So there was news the rest of the week, which validated my intention to trade. One of the things that supports or just like makes me feel more confident about why we don't trade on Mondays, at least no news Mondays especially, is if we come over here and we look at this price action on MES. MES was the asset you would have wanted to trade this on. The SMT we made was in favor of MES, and that's why. Um, so if you look right over here, we have this here's a 5-minute PSP. This here's a 1-minute PSP. If you just turn this on, yeah, 1-minute PSP there. Then there's this 1-minute fair value gap, and all of these wicks are respecting every single one of these candles. It's just wicking into this 1-minute fair value gap. On MES, it's not uncommon to get equal lows, especially on something like the 1-minute. But we did get equal lows right here, which I then accounted for with this. Oh, excuse me. With this wick right here. This wick, as we're coming into Q3, 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 is expected because this is Q2 of Q3. So if we go and we look at session highlights and we come over here and we turn on New York AM, we turn on these right here. So during the manipulation quarter of the Q3 quarter, I guess that was rather redundant, but we get this manipulation of the equal lows, the 1-minute fair value gap. We take out this low, and it's back down into this PSP. Now, the reason that I think this was messy for Monday is this is a lot of wicks, and we don't respect this 1-minute EOB. We actually take out its low, and then I mean we do end up respecting like 3 or so different things in here, but it's just not awesome in my opinion if this is the EOB you're entering on and its high is right here and you want to enter below the true microstructure, the true micro session open. That leaves you like a singular tick which gets taken out. So Monday was not that clean. If we go into Tuesday, if we just zoom out a little bit and we go over to Tuesday right over here. Tuesday was our first like viable trade, and I took this trade. This wasn't one that I just back tested. This was the cleanest trade that you could have wanted. I just screwed up my take profits on this, but if you look at this, we have a previous low, which on the 5-minute counts for a PSP. We have a PSP right near where our SMT happens. And you could actually draw the SMT with this low. But there's a 5-minute PSP here, which was respected here. And this is the proper direction of the SMT where MES becomes the leading indice. And so we can drop down to the 1-minute. And this was also a 5-minute PSP up here, but we don't have to worry about that. So we have that 5-minute PSP, and then within this 5-minute PSP, we wick into it with a 1-minute PSP, which also gives us this 1-minute EOB. Now, during the manipulation leg of Q333, we have in the manipulation like 5-minute quarter. This is right here. It's like the sub micro session, I guess. We get entry back into this 1-minute EOB and PSP, and we're below true week open, true day open, true session open, and true micro session open. So it's like perfect. And then right here we have about a 1 to 5 with this high right here, and then a 1 to 6 right here, which is perfect, which is where we wick. And I typically aim for that 1 to 6 to be the most, and then I'll let a runner go for external highs if I want. But we then ended up reversing here, so that was solid right here. Ah, So that was beneficial. Also, we can just look at, yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then yeah, Wednesday we had PPI. So we had CPI today. Was that at 8:30? Yeah, it was at 8:30. Um, that was no, this is in July. I was gonna say this does not look right. I don't know what we're looking at over here. I was like, good God, what am I looking at? And then there were other news events here that were only on here. There's just existing home sales, which was which is pretty minor. But we have CPI Wednesday. That's what I was thinking of. So that was the entry here. We come down to this EOB, and I had a limit sitting on this EOB, and there was literally zero drawdown. Perfect entry, which was it was really awesome. It felt really good to take that trade. Um, but yeah, that's Tuesday. Then we'll go into Wednesday. I'm sure everyone can guess what I did Thursday because that shit was ass. Right here. We had, in my opinion, some pretty straightforward price action. So we had this SMT between MES and MNQ, and MES ended up being the leading indice on this lower time frame SMT that we made. So with this SMT right here, what ideally I would have gotten was a return to this EOB right here, but this isn't much of an EOB because the candle's so large. But what we have right here is the 5-minute PSP. We then, which you can extend over. So on the 5-minute, there's no PSP up here, but this is the most. This was the PSP that we ended up returning to. This was also a 15-minute turtle soup, which was irrelevant, but something that I was looking at. And then we have this 1-minute turtle soup, which I love to see. And then within, I shortened this 1-minute fair value gap because I believed we were going to have a turtle soup, and we were going to push higher and respect what was still unmitigated with this gap, which is exactly what happened. And there could have been an entry on that alone. But I did not end up taking this trade because I would have wanted an EOB. That was like the biggest thing that I was looking for. And you would have wanted it above this true week open right here. That way you would have been above true week open, true session open, and true day open because you would have missed out on true micro session open. But it was unfortunate to see that we missed that EOB. There's an EOB later on, though. If we look over here, that forms on the 5-minute here. So I was looking at this 5-minute EOB for a re-entry, and I did, and then I entered on this, but it wasn't within a quarter theory kill zone, if you will. And so I ended up getting stopped out at break even, which was not a surprise. My target was news lows, and I'm not surprised that that didn't get hit. Shocking enough. But this would have been the most ideal entry with a 1-minute turtle soup, a 1-minute bearish fair value gap, and a 5-minute PSP. But I really like having an EOB. I think EOBs are some of the most reliable and most accurate entries, and we didn't have that here. And so I didn't end up taking this trade on Wednesday. And then we can just take a quick look at Thursday because Thursday was kind of useless in my opinion. We entered on Thursday and we kind of just went straight up. Like there was no entry literally in any of this. There's no entry. I was looking at this EOB here, but it doesn't even get touched until outside the quarter theory kill zone or whatever you want to call it. But today we had really solid price action. So Monday we had that horrible price action. I mean, still an entry, but just not ideal. Tuesday was really good. Wednesday it was good, but didn't have that EOB. And then Thursday, complete just longs, so it was kind of useless in my opinion. But right here, if we look on we can go ahead and drop this. So MES, as we know, on higher time frames is making all-time highs here. It made an SMT with this previous high, the previous day high here, which we can see. But we have previous all-time highs from MNQ, which we have not taken out. Because we went up and took this out, I was referring back to like highs all the way back here. And in that case, MES is the one making all-time highs and MNQ is not. And so I was looking at taking trades on MNQ because I think if you're going to take shorts, you should take them on MNQ most of the time. Not always, but most of the time. So we did not have any kind of 5-minute PSP except for right here, and this is a little low with this being a 5-minute EOB. So I forgot to label this. It lines up super well with our 1-minute EOB clearly, but I can't believe that's not on here. That makes me sad. But this right here is a 5-minute EOB. And then you drop down to the 1-minute. And on the 1-minute at this high, we had a PSP. This is also a 1-minute EOB if you look right here. So there's actually a bunch of really nice stuff that sits in here. This is also a 1-minute EOB. Just wanted to make sure that was clarified. Okay, 1-minute EOB. So you can enter right here because there is a 1-minute turtle soup. We enter the 5-minute EOB. We miss this 1-minute EOB, and you could have just said, okay, that's fine. If I'm gonna miss those, because you don't get a 1-minute EOB here, I wouldn't have taken this. But then we come up, we make a 1-minute turtle soup again, hit the 1-minute EOB within the 1-minute PSP. I would have entered on that. Or if you missed that, you could have said, we already had our 1-minute EOB plus the 5-minute EOB plus the PSP plus the 1-minute turtle soup. So right here, what we have is a 1-minute EOB that conveniently gets hit with a 1-minute PSP and a very strong looking candle here. I mean, with that wick, it's just inevitable what's going to happen. And then we obviously shorted, as we know, and we were at the correct location for all of those turtle soups, by the way. And one thing that I really want to see us go down to is hit these news lows because I think those are the most relevant. But any of these lows were good. These were all too smooth, especially these ones right here were way too smooth. It was pretty obvious that we were going to come down and take these out here. And with Thursday causing such a large imbalance, it wasn't surprising, especially to see us, if we look at something like the 1 hour or the 4 hour, can't remember which I was looking at. It was the 4 hour. Yeah, it was the 4 hour. With the 4 hour here, it wasn't surprising that we were going to come and fill this gap at all. So with that gap getting filled, that was not a surprise. My TPs for this were much more conservative than that, though, with our entry being, for me, I took this second entry right here. With that being the stops, I'd be looking for a swing high around 4 risk to reward, which we didn't have up until, I guess we had one right here. I didn't take this one though. I waited all the way until here, which gave us that 1 to 6. And then I just took another one. I took like a partial, like a very small partial here, and then I took off the rest of the position here. So that was a quick like 15 minutes, I think, from start to finish. 13 minutes, yeah. It was pretty straightforward, but yeah, that was this week. That was pretty solid in my opinion. Yeah, this is one of the strategies that I've been working on recently. That I've been back testing, and actually I'm going to continue to back test throughout the rest of the night. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. But yeah, it's about it for this week's review. Kind of wraps up everything. Monday was bad, Tuesday was good, Wednesday was decent but not great, Thursday was horrible, and Friday was great. So it gives us like 2 to 3 days of really good price action. 2 days with proper entries, 1 day with a meh entry that you could have entered on, but you may have gotten stopped. Or I guess you just wouldn't have been, I wouldn't have been as certain about it. But yeah, no, a great week. And excited to keep moving. I will see you all next week. Thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys.